Hello, my dear students. Today we are starting a very special discussion about a powerful short story called Eveline by the renowned writer James Joyce. Now, listen very carefully. This is going to be a three-part video series, and this is the first one. In this video, we will talk about who James Joyce was, why he is such an important literary figure, a simple and clear synopsis of the story, Evelyn, and I will give you an introduction to the elements of short stories with special reference to Evelyn. Now we will learn about James Joyce. Very small introduction. He was born in Dublin, in Ireland, in 1882, and he's considered one of the greatest modern writers in English literature. Why do you think that he's considered as modern, one of the modern writers? Because he changed the way stories were told. Joyce didn't just describe what characters did. Instead, he showed us what they felt, what they thought silently, and how their minds worked in messy, emotional, and in a in complicated ways. His stories often focus on ordinary people living ordinary lives, but he turns those small moments into something extraordinary. His writing is very rich in imagery, symbolism, and deep emotional insight. And this brings us to Eveline, a short story from his famous collection called Dubliners, published in 1914. Now I will give you a synopsis of the short story. And Eveline, the name of the short story and the name of the protagonist or the main character is also Eveline. She is a young girl living in Dublin. She is about to make one of the biggest decisions of her life. That is, whether to stay at home with her harsh, controlling father or to leave everything behind and sail to Buenos Aires with Frank. Frank is a sailor who promises her love, safety, and a new life. Now, look at very carefully. She's not just choosing between two places that you have to read that and read between the lines to get those ideas. She's choosing between two identities that James Joyce has very clearly sort of given. At home with father and the siblings, she has duty. She has the familiarity. The surrounding is familiar, and there is the mother's strong memory, and there is also this pain, the sacrifice, and everything. On the other side, there is Frank gives love, and with Frank she feels like she's having an adventure, and there is freedom. As well as with Frank, there is also the fear of the unknown. Okay, and now she, Miss Evelyn, sits by the window, thinking everything, remembering lot of things, dreaming of the future, the unknown future, and fearing the outcomes of whatever she is going to do. And she recalls her mother's unhappy life. She feels the weight of the promises she made to her mother to keep the home together. However, finally she goes to the station. The boat is ready. Frank is calling her. But at the very last moment, Evelyn freezes. She cannot go. She stays behind like a statue. So she chooses safety, familiarity over freedom, and familiarity over unknown risk. My dear students, to understand a short story, we must know the elements of a short story, the building blocks of a short story. And I will be doing it with reference to Eveline. And now we will try to identify the key elements of a short story. And the first element is the characters. So, in a short story, there are characters. There can be one or many characters. Now, characters are the people involved in the story. Uh, but we are not supposed to look at uh, their names, their appearances only. What matters more is how they think, how they feel, how they relate to each other. In Evelyn, the main character is, of course, Evelyn. She's around your age. She works in a shop and supports her family. Her mother is dead, and her father is in a way emotionally abusive. And the Joyce describes him as not entirely heartless. He's the capability of being soft also, because he once read to her and cared for her when she was ill. And there is another character, Joyce devotes like a whole paragraph on Frank. Frank is very gentle and a kind sailor. He offers Evelyn love, protection, and life. Most importantly, a life far away from Dublin. And Evelyn, the character Evelyn is torn between duty towards home and desire towards this new life. And she's torn between the familiar pain of home and the uncertain promise of a new future. And uh, the other important thing is the element is the plot. Plot is the storyline. The plot is the sequence of events in the story. Look at how Joyce structures it. And I will just read out the certain sort of sequence in a short story, that is exposition, rise in action, climax, falling action, and resolution. So, exposition, how the short story starts. We meet Evelyn at the window, lost in thought. And now there is something is building up. That's what we call rise in action. She remembers her childhood, her parents, and the promises she made, and it then comes to a certain climax. The climax is here in the stories is where she arrives at the docks. Frank is calling her. The ship is ready. We expect her to leave, but the falling action and the resolution, the dilemma is over now. Eveling is frozen. She cannot board the ship. She stays. So you can see how this plot is structured very often. There are questions on the plot. So please understand how the writer structures it. Then the next one is narrator or the point of view. This is again very, very important. And Joyce uses a third person. It's like she, he. That means the story is told by someone who is not part of the story, but who has some access to Eveline's inner thoughts. So we don't hear other characters' thoughts. Only her thoughts are given here. This helps us feel closely connected to Eveline's emotions and inner struggle. So that is the narrator. Then the setting where the story takes place. The story is set in early 20th century Dublin and very importantly, mainly inside Eveline's home and in her mind. The setting is very quiet and it's also fade because the writer uses a yellowing photo, a broken harmonium, very importantly, dusty curtains. And please keep this in your mind. These are not just background details, they are symbols of Eveline life. Everything feels still, tired, and stuck. The evening time mirrors her emotional darkness, her confusion, and her fear. And there are certain themes also. When you read, you will discover them. So I have listed them out for you all. You may find some other themes also. It depends on how you read it. Right. For me, I feel and I can identify this inner conflict as a theme. Evelyn wants to leave but can't, and there is a fear of change. Even life is unhappy, Evelyn feels safer than the unknown world. And there is this duty, emotional duty. She promised her dying mother to stay and she wants to keep the promise. And the other one, paralysis. It's one of the key themes in Joyce's work. Evelyn is at the dock, but she is frozen. She cannot act. So, my dear student, I am going to finish this video, and I think you have now learned about something about James Joyce, and you understood the story of Eveline, and we have even explored the key elements of the short story with reference to Eveline. In our next video, we will even go deeper into the structure of the story and examine symbols, emotions, and literary techniques Joyce uses. And I have a question for you until we meet. What would you have done if you were in Eveline's place? Think about it, and I'll see you very soon.